Hey, what's up, guys? It's Mike from Job Ready English. I thought I would, sort of getting back into the spirit of creating lots of cool content. I wanted to give you an insider look into how I would prep someone for a KPMG assessment center, which is known as the virtual launchpad. Done loads of them over the years. It's changed last couple of years. Big companies' assessment centers change, and I think this should give you a really good insight into how I would prep people, either on a 30-minute call. Some of the stuff that I refer to is down in the links in the description below. So, a 30-minute call down below, and also our Acing Assessment Centers bundle, which is down below, which has proven to be really popular. So, a lot of people, when they come to assessment centers, they're a bit like, holy crap, what do I do? The first thing you really want to do is figure out what's the schedule and what the exercise is going to be included. Now, luckily, KPMG will include this handy little sort of candidate pack. Most of it is not particularly useful, if I'm honest with you. Doing stuff online is slightly different because you're not face to face. I do tend to feel like it gives you a bit of an advantage because you can have notes, stuff that you can refer to. You're in your home environment, so you naturally feel more comfortable. Of course, you should dress in business dress, so don't just turn up or rock up in your pajamas or an old hoodie. But KPMG will give you something, a little something that looks like this. It's not exact, but it just gives you a rough idea of what to expect, really. Most big companies' assessment centers are kind of like this, particularly for the big four, where you register and you welcome. It's like, hi, this is where our company is amazing, blah blah blah. Group discussion, individual reflection, which isn't assessed, isn't that important. It's just a chance for you to be honest, and an interview. So you only have two exercises. Most big companies will have two, maximum three exercises on the day because you're trying to marshal a lot of people. You could have 50 people, 100 people, 200 people. You used to do three exercises, but most now will do two. And you'll generally do something which is like meet the grads or meet the managers. The common question that I get asked is like, well, okay, I need to prepare for this group discussion and interview, but will I be assessed when I'm meeting graduates, I'm meeting managers or directors? I'm like, not really, but everyone will, people will notice you. It's good to have good questions to ask, um, but you're not being assessed. One thing is if you just turn out to be a horrible human being, then that will be noticed because they'll be like, wow, that guy was a bit of a douche, or what's wrong with that woman? She really wasn't very nice, something like that. So, based upon this, we can kind of sort of extrapolate outwards, um, and think, well, how can we prepare for this? Now, what I tend to do is, to be frankly honest with you, I'll just go and look at something like Glassdoor, and just have a look and see what people are saying. I try to look for repetition. So I try to look for what people are saying. I'll tend to look for UK only, or you might find if you're looking at from a different country, then it may or may not be that helpful. This does give you super basic information, but it gives you an interesting direction. If you want to know how to, there are basically seven different exercises you can come across in an assessment center, and that's what our assessment center bundle is about. It's turned out to be a really good seller because I just break down each of those exercises and what you should do. um, so I go through and then I tend to kind of put together some notes. So this particular client who I saw today just wanted to jump on a call with me for half an hour, and they were like, "Well, what's my timeline to prepare for an AC?" Ideally, then they've got it in a week's time. Ideally, you want to do as many case studies as possible. The reason being is you might say, "But it's a group discussion. Why would I do case studies?" What's really important is your ability to process, analyze, and respond to information in a factual and objective way. This is quite a difficult thing to find other people to do. If you can, then brilliant. And we provide a couple of those case studies in the bundle, but most of the time you're just by yourself. Other people kind of living their life. So if you can do a case study by yourself and also do a presentation which you then watch back. Now, particularly for KPMG and the professional services, they're looking for people who've got really good attention to detail and they're really data driven, data orientated. So you want to concentrate on that as well. So not just you're just giving your random opinions about stuff, you're really using the information that's in the material and you're presenting that information. The other thing that you can do is, so you've got the group discussion and also you've got the interview. The best way to practice for this is what I call randomized interview prep. You'll find that I talk about that in Interview Success Secrets, which is our sort of big bundle for interviews. But really, what this is about is making a numbered list of questions, using a random number generator on Google, and then practicing for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that. Why is that? Assessment centers are really draining. So anybody who goes to an assessment center, particularly for the first time, will always kind of turn around and say, "Oh my God, I felt so drained. I felt like I had no energy left." And then you've got to do an interview. So you want to kind of build stamina. So you can practice for like 20 to 30 minutes of random questions. Most of the questions you should have already prepared for, right? Because you would have had to do their, video interview, small business transformations, whatever be the assessment that they're running, you would have had to do some sort of interview. But you will want to have a little bit more kind of hands-on knowledge on the division that you're applying to. So whether that be, a recent piece of business news, a recent piece of, here we're talking about tax. So something that I picked up and I know that's really important is what innovative technology can be used for tax, what are they using? And we're talking about just general knowledge of the concepts. So something that people often ask me about is they'll be like, well, how much do I need to know about tax? And I'm like, well, you're not being hired because you're a tax accountant, but if you have basic knowledge of direct, indirect tax, things that are going on, reading the news. This is all about this idea of sort of immersion. So the more that you're reading about something, the more that you have an awareness of the general concepts that surround that particular specialist skill, industry, division, whatever it is. And from that, you can build up some scripts. And you should also just have a general knowledge of what's going on, whether that be, in the tax industry or the audit industry or consulting. And a lot of the big four will produce white papers. So they will produce white papers specifically because they're trying to say, hey, I'm an expert at this stuff, buy from me, buy this service from me. So you can use that to your advantage. And some things I kind of highlighted when I'm going through and looking at, what's included, group discussion. And we're kind of looking for questions that we haven't prepared for already. What's your three best qualities and assets? A recent example, this is obviously from deals, tax technology. I picked something out from PwC. So here, PwC have done a really helpful little spiel about tax technology. When we're talking about a recent piece of business news, I've gone over to, ICAEW or something like the taxjournal.com. This is all stuff that really isn't that hard to find. Take you like 10 or 15 minutes to get all that stuff together. And then you might get the dreaded, how are we different from the other big four? So really just dig in to each company and what they've done first. Every company is going to really blow their own trumpet and say about what they've been doing and how they're better than everybody else. So it's reasonably easy to pick that stuff up. Again, if you're looking at it, I'll be honest with you, I just tend to find most people are lazy. They're not just willing to sit there for 10 or 15 minutes and do their research, and then they end up getting caught out. So that's kind of a really quick overview of how I would prep someone. And then obviously we go through scripts and talk about the minutiae. If you want to know more about interviews, check out or assessment centers, check out our two most popular courses down below. But yeah, I hope that that's helpful. Just a little bit of an insight into KPMG's virtual launchpad and how you should prepare. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, drop us a comment down below if you'd like more of these videos, and maybe I'll do some more. Bye.